How we doing, everyone? Welcome to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Roar 31 in the paperclip. Welcome to round two of the Martinsville extravaganza today. We have the Xfinity race, the Dead On Tools 250, 200 laps of pure chaos, right?
Yeah, we'll see. It's almost very short tracks, like throw them in a blender. So paperclip type track. That's why my friend is joining us today for the commentary.
250 laps, by the way. I know all you correctors out there are going to try to get at me. 250. I said 200. I meant 250. We are on a mile track. Okay, so break down the playoff picture for us, and let's get into it.
Okay, well, if you watch the truck video, like I talked about how far ahead the top two drivers were, this is even further. Both of them are tied at 47 points. So for 47 points, you would really literally have to have Cindrick and Almandinger wreck on the first lap of the race, and then one of the guys that is outside in the red win the race, and then probably the fifth place guy finish second for like both of these guys to be eliminated. So I think that Cindrick and Almandinger are safely into the next round. So you might think, okay, they're just going to coast for the day. But again, I don't think that's the case too, because you want to get a very good starting position for this race, because the way Phoenix works is we don't worry about points anymore. The highest car that finishes wins the race. There's no more stage points or anything like that. So what you're looking for is a really good win here to get a chance to get the best starting position, best pit stall and everything to set you up for success for the final race. So there is incentive here, but there also is incentive to just be careful and make sure that you make it to the next one. And I think that's more like what Justin Allgaier is going to be facing here. He's got a little bit of a cushion here, about 9 points. It's really a race between Allgaier, Hamrick, and Justin Haley, who's they're separated, I think, about like 15 points or 16 points between all of them. Grayson at 24 points would need something really catastrophic to happen to kind of early on to kind of get in there, and I think Brandon Jones and Burton are mathematically so far behind that they're win it or nothing to get into it. So it's really, I think, a race between Haley, Allgaier, and Hamrick. If any one of them have some bad luck, I think the other two become very conservative and just finish the race as best as they can ahead of like where the guy that had trouble, so they can just advance. So it's very interesting dynamic here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think if I had to pinpoint a winner, honestly, I'm really looking at guys starting, 9th, 10th, and first or second. It's kind of like my strong lean here as far as, how it's going to go. It's either going to be dominated by the drivers up top, or it's going to be one of these guys like Gregson or Burton that have nothing to lose and they're going for the win. Junior Motorsports had 4 top 10s in this race earlier in the year, with Josh Berry winning it. So I like Junior Motorsports. So those are just a quick little breakdown on what I feel for, heading into the driver by driver breakdown. But the playoff looks pretty fun. Let's get into it, starting off with Austin Syndrick. As you mentioned, I was going to say, go ahead if you want to mention what you did for the truck race.
It's what we did for like last week's Xfinity race. Those of you who watched the video, again, apologize, I lost my voice, I couldn't do the cup one, but always check our channel, check our Twitter, because if we can't do a video, whether it be tech or health or time constraints, we will throw something out there for you. So my video lasted through the truck one. Hopefully my voice will last through this one also. But what we did was we found some solid value plays. Now here, like, I think you just need to lock in Josh Berry, just because he did win this race. He did well. He's not in the same car. He's in the Jordan Anderson car. He's not in the 8 Sam Mayers in that one. But just his talent, how well he's done in races. He's done well in short tracks. I think, you definitely have to start with him, I think, in cash. And then we're throwing in some really weird's happening with my video here, but
yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And I'm gone. Okay, but you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe the virtual background got a hold of you.
No problem.
Paperclip eight.
I'll continue
Paperclip
talking, and when
eight.
you talk, I'll figure that out. But anyways,
All
we're gonna
right.
take some really cheaper guys here to try to building blocks, and that's what we gave in the truck race, and that's what really worked well for last week's Xfinity and Cup race, and it allows you to play whoever you want up top. So with all the playoff drivers, these guys are not coming off Talladega like the trucks. They are actually coming off a race where, you know, it was pretty much the starting lineup was set correctly because they came off of Texas to go to Kansas. And now Kansas, I know there were a couple wrecks and things there that dropped a couple people down, but pretty much you have the cream of the crop up top here. And there is some place differential for a few guys, but I think a lot of these people are going to pretty much finish where they start. So yeah, now back up to Austin Cindrick.
All righty, let's kick it off. Austin Syndrick 11-2. Going to be the chalk, of course. The 22 has only an average finish of 8th, and with only 2 top 10s in his 2 starts at Martinsville. Last in the spring, it looks like he finished 6th. So, you know, obviously this is a playoff atmosphere, so the team's going to be bringing it. Penske's not doing so hot heading into Cup weekend. I could see either dismay or victory here for Austin Cindrick. What do you think?
I feel the same as I said in John Hunter Nemechek. It just seems like, you know, one of the dominant drivers throughout the course of the season just really hasn't done well in the playoffs. Like he usually like gets the pole or is close to the top, and you think he's going to get out there and dominate, and he's just been falling back, and he's got a super aggressive guy right next to him. So I think he's a cash play. I think he's going to be very chalky, but this is one where I might split my cash like 50-50. I might have a line with Cindrick and then a line with another guy that I think is going to be a potential dominator here. It might be a Cindrick's line and a Gibbs line. I might hedge on who is the early one because I don't really see any of the rest of these drivers getting out early and leading a lot of laps.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a mixture of guys throughout the day. I really have a good feel for Ty Gibbs. I think he's going to do really well today. I prefer him over Cindrick. I don't think I'd play either one of these guys in cash. I think I'd have a more balanced approach with maybe some of the guys, you know, that we'll talk about here in the top 10. I don't think there's a competition caution, but I do know, you know, there is going to be a caution at some point for the end of the first stage. So we can see, you know, just a mixture of guys leading laps today. And Cindrick doesn't appear to be as strong at Martinsville. And the 54 car has, you know, won the last 2 races, whether it was Nemechek or Ty Gibbs himself. So I don't mind both of these guys. Obviously, the price tag is winning price tag. Like they have to win the race, or they have to dominate the race to, you know, probably be a differential in points between, you know, guys like, you know, Gregson or Burton if they win, because of that 1,000 that you may save that could get you a better driver that could finish higher, right? Okay. Anything to add on that? And then
I just last week I was completely wrong. Ty Gibbs won, but I just feel that he's got nothing to lose here. He doesn't have to race for stage points and everything, which gives him an advantage where he can stay out, you know, he can pit before the end of the caution and then pick up a lot of track position there and go and dominate like stage 2 and be hard to catch. But I just think his over aggressiveness, not giving any professional courtesy, not knowing, you know, anything but to race everybody like it's the last lap on every lap, could come back to bite him at some point. It didn't last week, which I thought it might, but here on a track where there's a lot of bumping and grinding, I think he might end up on the wrong end of it. So that's my only concern with him. But like I said, I might split my cash between the two of them and build a lineup one way and the other way. So we'll see as we go on if that's. But now we go to AJ Almandinger, who is a complete enigma here because he is a really good short track or road course driver. and that usually translates well on short tracks, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have really good statistics here. He did run decent last time out with a mechanical issue that took multiple pit stops to fix, put him back in the back of the field, and he worked his way up and finished in the top 15, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I don't know like how to take him here. The price is decent. I think he's a cash place, but probably the 1B with Cindrick as, you know, being 1A as the most dominant car all year long. Cully has really good speed here, but we don't know how he's going to approach this race.
Yeah. Almandinger is someone that I'm going to try to cram in a lot of lineups, hoping for that upside. This guy's won multiple times this year. He's really racing for a championship. I think he's trying to get some form heading into next week. And I really, him and another driver, I think are really strong cases for cash for optimal builds. So I'm in on AJ Allmendinger, and I hope he is lower owned. But I could see the price tag being very favorable for many lineups. Next up, we have Justin Haley, 8,800, kind of the wild card of this top five. I'm not sure where to go here. He finished 8th in the spring. He's got an average finish of 10th, with the one top 10 being last spring. So what are your thoughts? Is there any upside here?
He has some short track pedigree, but like he really hasn't like great on short tracks. And again, like he's the first guy out. He's going to be going for stage points, which is not going to set him up to win this race. I don't think it's going to set him up to get the lead and dominate at all, lead any laps here. Cully's fast car, pretty good. It all depends on what happens with some of the other drivers, you know. So yeah. I don't really feel that he's a safe play here.
Yeah, it's GPP to fade for me. GPP in case, like you said, something happens and he's just kind of like one of the last guys standing, or fade because he's going to finish 10th and 8,800 is too expensive for negative place differential. Next up is Justin Allgaier in the 90, starting 5th in the 7 car, 9,700. There was a lot of 7s and 9s there. Really throwing me off. All right. Any love for Allgaier? I mean, this guy's been great this year.
Junior
Motorsports.
Like I said, this was the team that dominated here last time out. But last year, same situation. He was close to the top 4, and he just kind of went out there and cruised and just ran a mistake-free race, didn't really care where he finished. So I really feel I can't pay 9,700 for a guy that I think is going to be running like a safe race, running not to lose more than running to win.
Right. Yeah. And third in the playoff picture, I think that perfectly depicts that exactly. Michael and Nat having a little bit of form coming back. Not coming back, but it looks like he's healthy and ready to race and giving a lot of, good results recently, and finished 10th in the spring. I don't mind him at 7,800. Starting 6th is a little high, but it's GPP.
He's like you go to a wedding or like a class reunion, and you know the other 6 people at the 8-person table, but there's like the one dude sitting there, and everybody's just like, "Who's that guy? Anybody know him?" Like, it's just like what is he doing here, like among these guys? So yes, he's in the right team. Yes, he's got some decent form. He's got nothing to lose here. Last year, Harrison Burton won this race in kind of the same position. He had fallen out of the playoffs. He had nothing to lose here. Everybody else was playing like not to lose. Harrison Burton was able to play to win, and Michael and Nat could sneak this one out. So I think he's an intriguing GPP play here, but I'm not like saying he's definitely a priority or a smash play.
I agree. Next up, we have Daniel Hamrick, 10K, 7th, starting 7th. Take it away.
My favorite play here. I still 100% believe that Daniel Hamrick is going to make the top 4, and then he's going to go on to Phoenix, and he's going to win the race. It's going to be his first career win, and he's going to win the title on that. I think it's going to be a great story, and we're looking at futures after this, and we're going to be dropping some coin on Daniel Hamrick to win the title. I have a feeling on it. He's been racing really well. He couldn't get it done last week, which is fine, but he's been consistently there. And that's what you need, is consistency to win a championship. And then I think it's finally all going to come together for him. I think the monkey's going to come off his back to get the first career win. I don't think it's going to be this week, but I think he's going to do well. I think he's got some place differential. I think he's going to get a really good finishing spot. He might even lead some laps here. I wouldn't be surprised. So I really like him here. I think he's definitely going to be in my cash builds.
I think if there's a little theory here to this as well, and we've been talking, if Ty Gibbs, obviously if he's leading the race and Daniel Hamrick is second, could you see the scenario that Ty Gibbs maybe pulls off and lets Hamrick get the win today to ensure his playoff spot, or you know what I mean? Like, there's some theory?
I don't think Ty Gibbs knows. I don't think even if his granddad got on the radio and said, Ty, you are never going to race again if you don't let him get by you.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's in his DNA to take his foot off the gas pedal. And the other good thing about Hamrick here too is, like, he had some serious damage to his car in the spring race, and he really looked like one of the best cars out there, and was able to go out there and, like, maybe even was giving Josh Berry some, like, challenge for the lead. He just couldn't get it done, but I really see some promise in him. He's actually becoming one of my, like, favorite, like, guys to cheer for here in Xfinity.
All righty. Yeah. All righty. Well, we're in on Hamrick for sure today. Next up is Brandon Jones in the 19. I'm going to go ahead and just say I can't play everyone, so he's the odd man out. But he did finish 5th in the spring.
Yeah, he's just aggressive, and he'll have a good car and everything, but I just think that he might press too much, and, between he and Grayson, like, fighting for, like, the same thing, I just think it doesn't end well for either one of them.
Yeah, like I said, odd man out, because I really like Gregson and Burton here. 10-5 for Gregson, 10-3 for Burton. Both have wins in this track. Or no, Gregson has 2 top 5s. Burton with the win last year. I like these guys as the GBP pivots off of Cindrick and Gibbs. I think they play.
Who wrecked Grayson last week? Like, I remember he got.
I can't. It's not coming to me.
I don't think it was a playoff driver, but it was. He was not happy after last week's race. So, and he had a hard crash too. I think it was a fiery crash, if I recall. So, hopefully he's okay. But yeah, I like him here. And like I said, Burton won this last year, but he wasn't in the playoffs. So, but again, it's kind of the same strategy where he can't be nickel and diming trying to get stage points, because it's not going to add up to enough. He's like 50 points out. He's got to win this race.
Yeah. Both certainly capable too. And DraftKings priced them up, unfortunately. So you're going to have to make pivots off of the top 2 guys, but I don't think that's terrible today. I think you can do that and still get someone like Hamrick or AJ Almandinger in your lineup. And maybe other guys we'll talk about down the road here. We'll start that theory with Sam Mayer at 9K. This is the 8 car. This is the car that won in the spring. Mayer's been fairly decent. 11th is a little far forward. He's going to need a top 10 with that 9K price tag. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I think he's definitely not as skilled as, like, Austin Hills and Truck, but he's kind of in the same position. He's right outside, up with the guys that are contending. We talked about, like, kind of professional courtesy. He's a rookie, so I don't know if he'll, like, get among them and, like, cut them a little slack, knowing, like, they have a lot to race for, and, like, and he doesn't. But he's got this car, the crew, the team, everything that, like, led another rookie to win this race. I think Barry's a better driver, but Mayer has really impressed me recently.
He has
started, like, pretty high up the last couple of races, and I thought he'd fall right back, but he was right up there running consistently in the top 10 in the last couple of races at Texas and Kansas. So I think, he's starting to come around. He's in good form, and got a great car, and there's a lot of potential here. So yeah, I like it.
All right, next up we have Myatt Snyder starting 12th, 7,900. Any love for Myatt Snyder?
No, I wouldn't say love. He has had some success here in the truck series. So I think he's one that could do well here. He knows how to use the car. Like, he's one that can like move people and bump into people and make sure that he can do it and not like damage a fender and get a tire rub and cut down a tire and get out of it. So I think he's intriguing here. So I like him. I wouldn't say I love him.
He finished 15th in the spring. That's about it I have for him. Next up is Brett Moffatt, the O2R Motorsports 8,200. I think he probably finishes right around where he starts.
Yeah,
the
experience is good. That's about all I can say for him. GPP.
Yeah. Yep, that's where I'm at. Sieg, I think I'm out on Sieg. I could see just this race blowing up in his face. And he did only finish 23rd last spring. I'm gonna have to, it's like we're in this price range here, or this, driver start range between 12th and 17th. A lot of the guys are the kind of similar spots, and I just can't play all of them. So I'm gonna fade Sieg here today.
I see like Sieg and LeBay sometimes as the same driver. Like, I know Sieg, like, his pit strategy is like so much different, and LeBay is so much better at like road courses, which is translate well here. But if you save like $400 and play LeBay, who's starting in the 25th position, I think you have a much better play there.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. Jeb Burton, he finished 11th in the spring. He has also another top 5 to his name here at Martinsville. Kind of a guy I talked myself into pre-show. I'm going to play some Jeb Burton today, starting 15th at 8,600.
Yeah, he's still a GPP for me, but this is close to where he grew up. So, I mean, you could maybe call it his home track.
Sure.
I don't know if that goes for Harrison also. I know they're cousins, not brothers.
Right.
So, but maybe he, just visiting the family, he does have some experience here in Harrison, but Jeb definitely. So I can see the play, Cully, good car and everything. I just, Jeb, he won that one race this year was rain shortened, I think.
Rain shortened. Yep.
Yeah, it just he's been there this year. He just hasn't like really like super like excited me.
Yeah, he is kind of a Manila driver, 8,600, quite a little bit to pay for. So you're gonna have to make decisions throughout your lineup. But I think he could be worth it if he finishes inside that top 10 today. Next up is Riley Herbst at 8K. I'm gonna go ahead and fade.
Yeah, it hasn't been the same car since was it Cindrick Briscoe drove it last year.
Yeah.
Riley Herbst just overly aggressive, just not as talented. Maybe another year in the series here and he'll be up. We were saying about the same thing about like Cindrick last year, and like he kind of broke out this year and done much better. So I think he just needs to head into the off season. And again, we think Stuart Haas, like with the Cup series, has really been focusing on next year's car. I don't know if Xfinity's changing cars next year also, but I
don't know either.
Everybody's kind of written off this year, and I don't really see like him doing too much, starting way too far forward. So I'm out.
Yep, I agree. Brandon Brown, 7K, not a bad price tag for Brandon Brown, starting 17th. I'm gonna have shares for sure.
I don't want to upset all the fans of Xfinity's new most popular driver here, but he was borderline fade for me. It's just not his style of track. Like, I like the price and everything, but I think he's starting a little too far forward. I don't think I'm going to have any shares of him, but I don't hate you if you do.
27th finish in the spring, so could be onto something there. Might not see Martinsville well. This next guy does, though. I love playing Clements on short track. 7,400. Yes,
definitely. I'd pay the 400 more for him here. Definitely. Like this play. Not saying it's a huge priority, but it's gonna, again, if you watch the truck video, it's kind of the same thing here. If you want to try to get like Josh Berry in and then 2 other guys, you're going to need to play like 3 punts. We've given you 2 of them. You're going to have to figure out who the other guy is. or you either fade Barry or just play one guy up top, and then you take a guy like Clement or or like I think Preston Pardis will be the other guy. We talked
Yeah.
about pairing the Gray brothers together in their price point. Like one was like 7K, one was I believe 8K. I think it's the same exact scenario here, where if you want an alternate cash build that's not going to be like the chalk of everybody else, it's not going to give you 3 like 9, 10, 11K drivers, but it might be solid enough to cash for you with the floor and have more potential if something goes wrong with the chalk to win you a GPP.
Yep, perfectly said. Next up is our second favorite country music artist. That is Tommy Joe Martins. We're all in on Austin Wayne Self in the truck. Are we playing Tommy Joe?
I only gave him a GPP and not a fade here because he's a friend of the show. I think he's starting too far forward. It's not really his style. I don't hate him here, but there's so many other better plays in this price range that I would like over him. Like I can save $200 and play Stephen Litch in the Hattori starting 37th. I think today that is a much safer play with the floor of Litch he can't really lose me much. He can only go back like 3 spots. The Tommy Joe Martin can pretty much free fall a lot here. So, I mean, if you're playing him, you're hoping he finishes where he starts, but there's so many other plays in this price range that have better potential for you that are safer plays.
An average finish of 25th for Tommy Joe. So out probably, but hey, just fun to mention. Bailey Curry, 5,800, 15 car starting 20th. This guy's been racing really well lately. Go ahead and tell me your thoughts.
Now I have him as a prime, and I'm okay if you pass on him and if you feel safer playing like somebody else lower on down, like JJ Yaley. I think, I flirted between Curry and Yaley, but I wanted to give you a little bit more cash to spend. So that's why I selected him as a prime. Bailey Curley has had really good form recently. He has, out of the last 4 races, he has 3 top 20 finishes. And the one race where he didn't was Talladega, and that's completely understandable because there were a lot of wrecks in that race and they weren't necessarily drivers' faults. So even if he drops down to like 25th, he really at 58 doesn't really need that much. I think he only needs about like 20 points to pull off like 4x value, which I look for. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Perfectly said. We're in on Bailey Curry. The 15 car, just a note, in the spring car had suspension issues. But hey, second time around could be the right time. Bailey Curry probably definitely a better driver than Colby Howard. So we're in on Curry today. How about your favorite driver next? Ryan Vargas.
Not interested in here. This is the worst of the JD cars.
I will agree with you, sir. Now we are up. Josh Williams, 5,900. This is
now I think we're coming full circle here because TK and I hammered this play as a value play, and we did well early in the season. And then it came to the point where we kept on playing him and he wrecked, and we felt like we were ruining the poor guy's career. So then we backed off a little bit. Yeah. And we just been kind of watching from a distance. And it seems like he's gotten his legs again, and he's actually been pretty consistent recently. So this is a good style for him. It's a good starting position. It's a good price for him. I think the formula is good. I feel good with him in cash here. And if you want, like, a pivot off of Curry, I think, this is another play in that range that works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 15th or 16th finish position in the spring. Josh Williams, a couple of top 20s recently, and he has an average finish of 17th in the 2 races here. So it looks like there's some positive place differential points ahead, hopefully. And he doesn't wreck out on the 5th lap and comes calling, why did you tout me today? And this is what happens when you come knocking on my door. All right, Landon Castle, Kyle Weatherman.
No, Castle's way too expensive and starting way too far for
Yep.
it. I usually like to play, but from 33rd, not 23rd.
Yep. Completely agree. Too expensive. Weatherman, too not so fun equipment to be dealing with. Probably finishes right around 25th. So I don't know. I'm out. LeBay, as you mentioned a couple of times earlier, with that road course pedigree in the 36, 72 is not a bad price tag. I don't mind. I think you can reach him in ways in today.
Yeah, but like I said, it's the alternate build. If you're like looking to go with the two prime guys and you're okay only playing like two 10K guys or two like one 11 and 10K guy, I think you can work him in. He's priced in no man's land and like kind of the cash GPP arena here. Like you're looking for guys probably, less than 6K, like maybe around like 6.5 or less for like your value builds if you're trying to get up there. So like he's being above 7K is just a little too expensive, but with the right pairing, I think he could work out.
Yeah. All right. Natalie Decker and Jeffrey Earnhardt.
I would not be surprised if Natalie Decker finished 39th. I would not be surprised if Natalie Decker at one point is driving the wrong way on the racetrack. And it's not because she's a female driver, just this team and she have just not been successful
at all.
in what they did. Like she's not Haley Deegan. No. And even Jennifer Jo Cobb is slow, but just like Natalie Decker just has really struggled in driving an Xfinity car. And I just don't think this is the right track for it. If she was at like a wide, like quarter mile track and she was starting like in the 30s, I might consider it if she was like 4,800. But here, I think that she falls down very fast.
Yep, agreed. Same with Jeffrey Earnhardt. I never play that guy.
Yep.
JJ Yaley at 6,600, the 29th starting position. I can understand it. So I think they're better value plays, though. Yeah.
Was it?
I said I think there's some better value plays here to have to play. I don't have to play JJ Yaley.
Yeah, I think he's a tad too expensive. But I think
I'd rather play Williams.
He's the one that I flirted with Hia Curry to be the final prime play. He's got like he checks all the boxes. It's a good driver who's good at road courses, which translates well here. The 17 car has been very good when he has driven it, and his price point is fair.
Yeah. Yep. And he finished, I think, 24th in the spring. So he's going to get a couple place differential points. I just think Josh Williams has a little bit more upside. Bailey Curry has some upside, even starting 20th. I think it's pretty close. You were right on that prime spot to be pick between the two. That leads us to Josh Berry in the 31 Jordan Anderson car. This isn't Jordan Anderson Racing, so should be a good day for Jordan Anderson Racing.
I think you just lock it in, just from what we've seen from him on this track in this series this year. Very talented young driver, and he gets it. He hasn't had the struggles that, besides like his yard work in where was Atlanta or whatever there, but
that was Atlanta.
Yeah, it wasn't even his fault. But he hasn't had the struggles that like Mayer has shown at times, and some of the other guys that have come up that we've seen this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Barry's definitely in play. Definitely going to be the prime play here at FSI for some expensive driver. Colin Garrett in the 26 Sam Hunt Racing Machine, 6,100. Any love? Any?
Yeah, I mean, I gave him a prime tag for a reason. I mean, he hasn't done many races this year. I think he's only been 4. He had some Xfinity races last year. I think he's up to like 9, but in more than races than in a majority of the races, he's advanced. Like he's run really good, clean races. This Sam Hunt car is good car. So I can see him like at least getting like 5, maybe like 10 place differential points. And at 6,100, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, in the spring, the 26 car under Brandon Godovic finished 17th. So I really like this call at 6,100. I think it's
This is
perfect.
also his home track.
Boom, bingo. Colin Garrett locking it in. Nicely done, Mega, on finding that gem for us. Next up is Jade Buford, the road course gents for 48 Big Racing Machine. 6,400. I think him and JJ Ailey are kind of similar here.
Yeah, and I really like Buford here just because he is he's a road course guy, and he's the guy that trains people to drive road courses, I believe.
Yeah.
So like the braking, everything translates really well here. So I think that sets him up. Well, this car's been okay tech wise. And I think he can get into like up to the top 20. So about 10 place differential points. I see him passing Earnhardt, Decker, Weatherman, Castle, Vargas, possibly Tommy Joe Martin. So, there's definitely some room to move up there.
Yeah, 19th in the spring. I like it too. Next up is Joe Groth. I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Yeah, he's fringe play there. I think out of like all of like the
4K guys.
Well, no, because I think Spencer Boyd will get to him, but
okay.
He's playable, but nothing excites me really.
Yeah. Next up, we have probably the biggest fade in the slate, Ogata.
Yeah.
Never played that guy. He's always dead last.
Well, he's usually in Hattori car, but now like he's got a BJ McLeod car, so it's like take a bad driver and give him a worse ride and see what happens. Watch him top 10.
No thanks. Ryan Ellis doesn't do anything for me.
But he's a decent driver. This is one of the better BJ McLeod cars.
I know, but I feel like we're just trying too hard with this one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. He's what, 4 or 5 spots tops. I don't think there's much more than that. Matt Mills, no thanks. David Starr and Stephen Light. Any love here for some of the?
I really like Starr here just because I know this car burnt us. What was it, Texas, and it stopped us from winning like thousands. Like literally, we had the nut lineup with him, and he had a dropped in engine, and he didn't like lose, but he didn't like have gain enough to get us like to the promised land. Yeah. But he is a veteran. He's driven this track many times, and I don't need him to like do well at this price point. I just need him to finish better than a lot of the players to open up some value. So I definitely think that he is in play here. And the same thing with Stephen Litch. This Hattori car is a decent car. So between the two of them, I'd favor Starr just with his experience here. I think the Hattori car is a little bit more tech sound. I think they're pretty much essentially the same play. But if you're looking for somebody in this range, I think these two guys make a lot of sense.
Yep. Next up is Preston Pardus, 8,400 in the 90. Yeah, he's definitely going to be played today.
Yeah, this guy has a lot of place differential upside. I'm surprised that they didn't price him at like 10K, like some of, and it might just be because he's in a DGM car and he doesn't have like a major ride, but DGM isn't horrible. I mean, it's the same team as Alex Labay. So I think, again, this is the alternate cash build where you take the 2 cheaper prime guys, and then you take 2 10K guys and you play Pardus, and then somebody else in the 7K, like maybe a Jeremy Clement or an Alex Labay, like pair the teammates up here. And it's a build that nobody else has. So if some of the other chalk guys like fail, then you might not get caught up in it. And again, it's solid enough to cash in your cash games, but it might give you a different enough lineup to push you over up in those GPPs.
Yeah, perfectly said, man. Next up, Spencer Boyd. Is this the favorite play in 4K range?
I think so, because he is not going out there to win a race. He's going out there for a Saturday evening drive. He's going to be looking at the leaves and, waving as everybody passes him. But the thing is the car holds up, and there's going to be a lot of other guys like overly aggressive. It's a bump and grind and really aggressive, tempers flaring track. He can keep his cool on cruise control, stay out of all the chaos, and just keep on moving up. Yeah. And he's better than BJ McLeod cars here. So he's got the experience, same thing as David Starr. At 4,700, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think he can get like maybe up to like 29th here, 10th place differential points. I think that gets you like almost maybe 5x at 4,700.
Yep. Yeah. I could see it. Probably not going to be a main fixture in my lineups, but I like your analysis. Last but not least, Mike Harmon. Is this car finish 40th?
I saw it's the 74, and I'm just thinking, like, are they going to bring out the Country Time Lemonade car?
Yeah.
Remember the old 74 Country Time Lemonade car?
I used to drink that stuff.
That would be so. I don't have nothing against Country Time Lemonade. It is very refreshing beverage, but it's the same thing as Jordan Anderson driving the Jordan Anderson car. I just don't think it's going very far. I think Natalie Decker might finish 40th, but I think he'll finish 39th.
Fair enough. All right, guys, that'll do it for the driver by driver breakdown. Mega, thank you. You can follow him on Twitter at MegaRoller31. You can follow me at TKNation47 and us at FSI DFS. Guys, get to the website, get to the Discord channel for the core plays that are going to be coming out today for the truck and Xfinity race and the driver sheets that you have seen today. All right, guys, thank you, and good luck today, and we'll possibly see you later on for the Cup video.